currently, these are my thoughts. Please note the date of this recording, October 27th, because I may come back to this subject and have different thoughts. But currently, this is where I'm at. I think something needs to change. I know that pastors, elders, bishops, shepherds are all the same basic word. I get that. And I know that there are many people in ministry who go by all of them. Some of them even have them all listed on the bulletin or on the sign up front. Pastor, bishop, elder, head elder, chief elder, grand poopah, elder, shepherd of the flock, Bob, whatever. Sorry. I had several other names, but I thought somebody will know them and they'll be like, oh, Bob was talking about him. I wasn't. Just making an example. So, in all of that, I do understand that's true, but I also want to say that at some level, I think they need to be separated out. I already talked about the fact that not everybody's a pastor. That pastor, I believe, is a spiritual gift, one of what a lot of people call the fivefold or the five graces. Some theologies remove the other two of them. They remove not top two, but remove two of them, the prophet and the apostle, because they say those. But I don't agree with that theology, but I do understand some people don't have them anymore. Or they redefine them without the supernatural part of it, which is, again, a theology thing, and people can differ on it. I'm not going to argue about it. But I do believe pastors is a spiritual gift, and I think that it's something that is designed to shepherd over more than just one flock. And I don't mean that they should be paid for that. I mean that it's kind of a regional gift, and I think all of those gifts are. There are people that should have those roles in which they have authority, i.e. invitation to come in and assist and help build the body of the believers, body of Christ, help build it to a place where they can be unified and impact an entire culture / city / state / nation. But that's true for all of them. And I think that churches should be overseen by, I'll say, elders. I think elders should have a role that brings them in a position where they are bivocational. And I know that most pastors used to all be bivocational, but there's something about the shift that occurred, at least in America, when pastoring and ministry became a full-time occupation that was like a career. You could go into pastoring for a career move, and you could within the denominations, and then also ultimately moved outside the denominations. You could move yourself up the ladder by moving to different churches, and then the big churches had entire career paths that you could follow. And man, I think we lost something in all of this. I know we have. I don't even think it. I know we have. We've lost it because decisions started to be made based on business, based on people's 401k, on their benefits package, on, can we increase the staff? Can I get more help in here? Can we, can I get more people paid to support our vision? I think we got to move away from that. That's what I think. I think in order for the church to really enter into what God has designed for it in the future, the church needs to be outside of a full-time career pastor in the front. Now, some pastors are like, I am bivocational. I know a lot of them are. And a lot of them, have said, well, I was, and we built the church big enough, and now the church can pay my salary. So that's going to be my full-time position. And that's where it gets sticky, because then people get offended. I don't want to offend. I don't. But when the church is your sole source of income, you make decisions. You can't help it. You can't. No one is that self-aware. And I would not be this self-aware if I hadn't been unplugged from the local church for the last 9 months, and unplugged like completely, in that I'm still jobless. But at the time of this recording, so some are thinking, well, this is my reward. Like I worked hard enough, or maybe for some, it's like I found a really wealthy person and now they like me, so my salary's covered, or whatever. It's they look at it and think this is God, and I do understand. I get it. It's a conundrum, and that's why I'm thinking that's why it needs to shift, because it puts the person in a conundrum. They may feel or sense the Lord saying, do this, and then they can't help but think, how will this impact me financially? How will this impact the church financially? And I do understand a lot of them be like, no, I will always follow God. I don't care about the finances. And I say, God bless you. I'm glad you think that. I really, really am. And I pray that that is absolutely true. But I don't think it can be. I don't think you can get yourself out of the way. I think if you want to make if you want to make those kind of decisions, I don't know how you can do it. I don't know how you can do it. Because even if you ask for an outside source to come in and give you counsel, in the end, if you do this and it's going to impact the church negatively in the finance department, it is an incredibly difficult decision to make, and you probably won't go forward with it. That's what I think. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I hope I am wrong. I do. But I think we should move, currently this is what I think. I think we should move back toward an elder type of leader who is there to equip the body and to grow the body, grow the saints, grow the believers. And then see what happens. Somebody who can ask the fair question of, rather than how is this going to impact my salary, saying, all right, anybody have an idea for outreach into this community? How can this church get you out of the building? How can we support you out there? What do you need? And if you need the building, then let's figure out a way for this building to be used to support you and your ideas. That's what I think the church should start morphing into. Not a place where we draw everyone else in and say, how can we offer the most stuff so that the most people come here? But instead say, how can we support the most people so that there's more stuff going on out there? Like if you have a Sunday morning service, I think the church should morph into this section, into this world where 90% of the people that come in have done something awesome for the kingdom during the week and can't wait to gather so that they can tell others about it. Not necessarily everybody gets the mic, but like the energy of the room is, oh my gosh, you cannot believe all the stuff that God's doing this week. That's what I think the early church used to be like when they would meet in the synagogue on the Sabbath. They would all show up and they'd be like, you cannot believe what happened at our house this week. You cannot believe what happened with the believers this week. You can't, what happened in the marketplace, what happened on the trade route, what happened, like everybody was busy because nobody thought, how can we build this building? How can we support this building? I think most churches run about 80% of their income runs in the building. And it doesn't mean that it's evil. I just think it needs to shift. And I don't think pastors who made a career in the church are wrong. I just think it needs to shift. It needs to adjust. And And it's difficult to do when you're in it because it involves your money. It involves your salary, your benefits, your retirement. And I know many pastors. I know many pastors. And most of them have not worked in order to try and get people out of their church. They work to try to get people in. The first thing they ask people is, or one of the first things they try to communicate is, we really need your help. It's usually with the children's ministry, but it's usually that, right? We really need your help. You should get involved, get to know, us. We'll get to know you. You'll get to know more people. You'll, quote, build community. But let's get you involved. Let's get you plugged in. And I understand it. I laugh because I've been there, man. It's been my life. It's been my life, and I love the church. But it needs to move. It needs to shift. And I think it's going to be really difficult for some. But I think if we separate who's doing what, find the real pastors, give them the opportunity to impact the community of churches. Call those that run the churches elders and start moving the finances to push people out and create an environment that says, let's get out of this building. Let's figure out more things to do outside of this place. Let's not make 90% of our effort on one service a week. Think about that. So much goes into that one event on Sunday. So much. And then people spend the rest of the week kind of unplugged from, quote, ministry because they're all involved on Sunday. This paradigm has gotten old. And I'm not saying the memory of it isn't good. Like, the old wine is delicious. But the new wine needs to come in to play. The new wine needs a new wineskin. And I'm not talking about methods, and I'm not talking about programs. It needs to be new and totally new mindset. And I know that's scary. And I also know this has been a long thoughts for me. So have a good day, everybody.